Hello, my name is Latasha DeVos, and I am with the Texas Workforce Commission Child Care Business Coaching Team. Today, we're going to be discussing contractor or employee and how to classify your staff, understanding when someone is a contractor or an employee. During today's conversation, we will discuss the three essential employment factors in what determines whether someone is a contractor or an employee. Also, what guidance does the state of Texas give on classifying staff? And finally, how to get started on classifying your staff. Hiring someone to help with your childcare business can be one of the best decisions you can make. It can help you serve more children, improve quality, and be a more efficient business. However, there's a question that often comes up. Is my new hire a contractor or an employee? The risks are real, and knowing the answer can save you a great deal of time and money. So regardless of your reason for hiring someone, you need to make sure that you do have the correct legal status for your employee or contractor. Employees and contractors are treated very differently under federal and state law. Contractors are considered independent business people. They pay their own employment taxes, and the employer usually has fewer legal obligations for the worker, such as the need to provide paid time off. And employees, on the other hand, come with greater costs, like employment taxes and benefits. So oftentimes, childcare providers may report a hire as a contractor, but call and treat them as an employee. And because of that, they're not required to pay employer taxes and there's less paperwork. However, understand that there can be financial penalties to misclassification. The problem is that the classification isn't solely up to the employer. There are rules that determine if a person needs to be one or the other. In terms of the misclassification of a contractor costing or has the potential to cost a great deal of time and money, if you make a mistake, even an honest one, where you just didn't know how to classify someone, understand that you can be liable for 100% of the employer taxes that you should have been contributing all along, a portion of the employee's contribution to payroll taxes. Yes, you've heard that right. The employer will have to pay a portion of the taxes that they would have never paid in the first place due to misclassifying staff. Also subject to other fines and fees, and the price of any missed benefit and any other compensation, such as paid time off, that worker did not get because they were misclassified as a contractor. So, understanding these risks and how real they are, you can see how important it is to ensure that you do choose the right path, which leads to the question, which one do you choose? So there are three essential employment elements that you should take into consideration when determining whether someone is a contractor or an employee. The first element is the type of relationship and what service is being provided by the helper, the worker. So the type of relationship that you have. Does the person work on a contractual basis or on short duration projects like a contractor? Does the person have other clients like a contractor, or is your firm the one and only? The second element would be the financial and wages element. So how is the person paid by your firm or your childcare? Is the person paid every week for a set number of hours, like an employee, or does the work vary, like a contractor? Do they have regular expenses that are reimbursed by you, like an employee? And the third element of employment would be a behavioral one. So direction. How much control does the company versus the person have over the position? For example, does your company set the requirements around the hours of work, what equipment or tools need to be used, or the training needed? If yes, then that person is likely an employee. So what guidance does the state of Texas give on classifying staff? Luckily, in the state of Texas, there's more detail beyond just the three factors that we went over to help determine whether someone is a contractor or an employee. The Texas Workforce Commission recommends a 20-point comparative approach to determine if a worker is an employee or a contractor. To use the grid, you'll simply consider the role and then think about the person that is filling the role when answering the 20 questions. You'll note or check off which criteria applies the best to the person in the role, and then understand that it's not 100% foolproof. Someone that meets the majority of the criteria under one classification should usually be classified as such. However, if doubt still remains, you should connect with a human resource professional, and feel free to reach out to texas@ecebizcoach.org to be connected with someone who can help. So we'll go through the 20-point comparative grid and just call out a few examples. But please keep in mind that a copy, a paper, or a version that you can edit is available at childcare.texas.gov and also on the Texas Workforce Commission's page that is linked. Okay, so you will see all 20 of the points, and it's formatted by the common law factors and then criteria that would apply to someone that is an employee, and then criteria that would apply to someone who is likely a contractor. So for example, when giving instructions, an employee receives instructions on where and how work should be performed. A contractor does the job their own way with little to no instruction. So you will see opposites between the employee versus a contractor on all of these 20 points. So moving along, set hours of work. An employee may work on call or during hours and days as set by the employer. A contractor, however, is the master of their own time, and they work the days and hours that they choose. Furnishing tools and equipment. An employee is usually furnished all necessary tools, materials, and equipment by their employer. A contractor, on the other hand, ordinarily provides all of the tools and equipment necessary to complete the job. So again, thinking through the criteria and the role when you're reading this, and think, which one does my worker meet? Where do they fall under? Working for more than one firm at a time or more than one company at a time. An employee ordinarily works for one employer at a time and may be prohibited from joining a competitor. A contractor often works for more than one client or firm at the same time and is not subject to a non-competition rule. So those are the 20 points. Again, I do recommend that you read them individually and consider them all when making a decision on classifying your staff. So putting it into action and actually beginning to classify your staff. There's 3 steps. Step 1, you'll think through the position before engaging someone and also the person that is filling it. And how does it align with the 20-point comparative approach? Step number 2, you should identify any misclassified staff. So if at any point during the staffing engagement, you can stop to perform the 20-point comparison. So even folks that you already have on staff, if you think that someone may be misclassified, we would recommend that you stop and do a full assessment and then seeking a human resource or a legal professional on what to do if you find that someone may be misclassified. And then step 3, again, seek counsel if you have any questions, whether it's a new person you're classifying or someone that's already on staff or been classified, because there are potential financial penalties to misclassification, and it's certainly worth running your situation by a professional on how to proceed. There is help available. You can visit childcare.texas.gov for more information on this topic, plus other pertinent childcare business topics. There's links to help and other resources, both in English and in Spanish. Also, you can email us at texas@ecbizcoach.org. These can be quick questions or requests for coaching or requests to connect with a human resource professional, on classifying your staff. And this support is available in English and in Spanish. And 5 times a week, there will be Q&A webinars on different topics related to childcare business practices, and also just relevant topics that are happening for childcare providers at that time. And these are also available in English and in Spanish. And the schedule can be found at childcare.texas.gov. Thank you.